help me reach 2,000 subscribers. I never imagined that the people I trusted most could betray me so completely. My name is Daniel, I'm 38, and for years I believed my wife Olivia and my younger brother Ethan were my closest allies. We had a family built on love, laughter, and shared memories, or so I thought. It all started subtly. Olivia and Ethan began spending more time together, beyond normal family interactions. They claimed it was for the kids, that they were just helping with homework or taking our daughter and son to activities. I didn't question it at first. After all, I trusted them both. But there was a tension in the way they interacted, a quiet intimacy that didn't feel appropriate. Our children Lily and Max were caught in the middle without understanding the full scope. I often noticed them exchanging secretive glances, whispering in corners, and sometimes smirking at things that didn't make sense to me. I chalked it up to childhood mischief, naive and harmless. For nearly 2 years this pattern continued. Little lies piled up. Forgotten promises, unaccounted absences, suspicious phone calls. I tried to stay calm, telling myself that I might be overthinking, that family dynamics were complicated. But deep down, something in my gut told me that the world I thought I had built was fragile, ready to crumble at any moment. The first real alarm came one quiet Sunday afternoon. I was in the kitchen, flipping through bills, when I noticed Ethan and Olivia whispering in the living room. Their laughter was soft, intimate, and oddly familiar, too familiar. I stopped listening but couldn't hear words. Just the subtle tone, the shared humor, the closeness. I walked away, pretending I hadn't noticed, but my mind raced. The pieces started fitting together in an unsettling pattern. The whispered phone calls, the sudden out-of-town trips, the kids' strange behavior. All of it pointed to a truth I wasn't ready to face. I wanted to confront Olivia, demand answers, but I hesitated. The family, our home, the kids, everything seemed at stake. And yet, the nagging suspicion grew stronger each day. That night I sat on the couch alone, staring at family photos lining the walls. Smiling faces, happy moments, holidays and birthdays, all now tainted by doubt. My heart sank as I realized that if I were right, everything I believed about love, loyalty, and family was a lie. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't focus. And I knew deep down that the truth would come out eventually, whether I was ready or not. The truth didn't reveal itself immediately. It came in pieces, subtle hints that I had ignored or rationalized for far too long. But one evening everything finally collided. I had returned home early from work, planning a quiet night with the kids. The house was unusually silent, and my gut tightened the moment I stepped through the door. I noticed Ethan's car still in the driveway, and Olivia's phone was buzzing on the kitchen counter. Something about the way she glanced at it made my stomach twist. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. A small, practiced smile that didn't match her usual warmth. I felt a chill run down my spine. I pretended not to notice and called the kids for dinner. Lily and Max came running, their faces bright, but I noticed the subtle tension in their movements. A strange mix of excitement and nervousness. They were trying to hide something, and suddenly the pieces fell into place. For 2 years they had been part of the secret, protecting Olivia and Ethan in ways that no child should ever have to. The first real confirmation came when Max accidentally left his tablet open. I glimpsed a photo, Olivia and Ethan intimately close, laughing together. The shock hit me like a tidal wave. My heart raced, my hands shook, and the world seemed to tilt. Everything I had believed about my marriage, my family, even my own judgment, crumbled in an instant. I confronted Olivia that night, trying to stay composed. "We need to talk," I said, my voice low but firm. Her expression faltered for the first time in years. "Daniel, she started, but I cut her off. "For 2 years. I asked, my voice trembling. "You and my brother? In front of the kids? They've been keeping this from me." Tears streamed down her face. It happened. I didn't mean for it to go this far. I thought I could handle it. I thought no one would get hurt," she whispered, barely audible. "I trusted you. I trusted both of you," I said, my voice breaking. "And for 2 years my family has been living a lie." Ethan tried to speak, but I turned to him sharply. "Don't. Not a word. You've both crossed a line that can't be undone." The kids watched in silence, confusion and fear in their eyes. I wanted to comfort them, to explain, but I couldn't. The betrayal was too raw. For the first time I saw my family not as a safe harbor, but as a minefield of lies. That night I didn't sleep. I paced the house, reliving every laugh, every shared moment, every trusting glance I had given, now tainted. I realized that rebuilding trust, if it was even possible, would be a monumental task. The deception had gone deeper than I could have imagined, and the road ahead would be painful and uncertain. The days that followed were a blur of confrontation, heartbreak, and difficult decisions. I had to create boundaries, not out of revenge but out of necessity. Olivia and Ethan moved out temporarily while I tried to process the depth of their betrayal. The kids were caught in the middle, struggling to reconcile the parents and uncle they loved with the secrets they had unknowingly protected. Family dinners became tense, conversation minimal. Lily and Max watched me carefully, unsure how to navigate this new reality. I didn't want to punish them, but I couldn't ignore the role they had played in keeping this secret. I spoke gently, explaining that sometimes adults make mistakes, and that while I loved them, trust must be rebuilt carefully. With Olivia, I had to face the uncomfortable truth. Her choices had irrevocably damaged our marriage. I asked hard questions: why, how, and when, and she answered honestly though painfully. Ethan tried to justify himself, but his words rang hollow. They had both underestimated the power of trust, and the consequences were now unavoidable. In the quiet moments alone, I reflected on my own mistakes. Could I have noticed earlier? Could I have intervened before the secrecy became a family-wide web? The answers didn't change the betrayal, but they gave me insight into human behavior, deception, and the fragility of trust. Over time, I focused on the children. They needed stability, reassurance, and love. A safe environment where they didn't feel responsible for the sins of adults. I spent more time with them, listening, guiding, and rebuilding the bonds that had been strained by dishonesty. Slowly, their laughter returned, small smiles replacing the anxious glances they had once shared with their mother and uncle. Olivia and Ethan were no longer part of the daily routine, and that distance allowed me to heal, to reclaim control over my life. The betrayal had been public only to me, but its effects were private and profound. I learned that forgiveness is a process, not a single act, and that some relationships may never return to what they once were. As I moved forward, I realized that strength comes not from retaliation, but from understanding, boundaries, and self-respect. The experience reshaped my perspective on family, loyalty, and the importance of truth. I vowed never to let deception fester in silence again. And finally, in the quiet of my home, after long days filled with rebuilding and reflection, I felt a sense of peace. Not because the betrayal had vanished, it hadn't, but because I had faced it, confronted it, and begun the slow, steady process of moving forward. I was no longer a victim trapped in lies. I was a parent, a guardian of my children, and a man determined to reclaim his life from the shadows of deceit.